You're watching Local 24 News Midday.
Houses of worship, they're supposed to be places of peace, places to seek God. What they're not supposed to be are war zones. However, in recent years, houses of worship have not been spared the type of violence that many other walks of life have witnessed. Joining us this midday is ABC News Chief Justice Correspondent Pierre in Washington. He got a chance to sit down with 3 representatives of house of worship that have endured horrifying attacks in recent years. Pierre, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Well, Pierre, let's start with the first question. How does a church move forward after such a tragedy like gun violence?
Well, they were remarkably candid. It's a combination. They told me that they didn't suddenly fall on their knees, pray, get up, and everything be okay. That the healing process has been slow and challenging in some regards, but their faith has been what has carried them through. But they also took some very practical steps, including security cameras, armed security personnel in some cases. They have barriers that have been erected in some cases. And also, they talked about the fact that in some of the facilities, Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh specifically, they will search your bags if you come into their sanctuary and they don't know who you are.
Yeah, it's kind of scary to think about in 2019 that a place of worship, a place that you would think would be off limits, people are going there now to shoot up. What other places are kind of susceptible to this kind of violence, and what are you hearing from people there about it?
Well, mass shootings are now a part of American culture. We just had the Virginia Beach shooting incident just a few weeks ago where those people were killed in their place of work at a city government building. You see them at schools, unfortunately, shopping centers. And as you said, houses of worship no longer immune. We looked at some data from the Violence Policy Archive and found that there have been already 150 mass shootings this year alone. And those are shootings involving 4 or more people injured or killed, not including the shooter.
So we know how churches are certainly moving forward, but people at home watching this, what can they do to keep themselves safe? Have you got a chance to talk with any safety experts about what people should do to be vigilant just about their own safety?
Well, we're talking to law enforcement officials all the time, and one of the things that they say is that if you notice someone who seems troubled and they're taking actions that seem out of character or unusual, feel free to report that to law enforcement officials. But the other thing that struck me about the conversation with these leaders of the faith world is they talked about the need in this country to improve the dialogue among people that disagree. They think that people need to learn how to be more agreeable as they disagree, to show more love and more compassion to the people that they talk to. And they believe that that is at the core of one of the reasons why the nation is struggling.
I agree. All right, Pierre, so good to talk with you live for us from Washington. And if you'd like to see more on the interview with Pierre, you can watch the full interview, which aired on This Week with ABC. George Stephanopoulos.